Hello, hello, hello. It is Rashida coming to you from sunny, bright South Florida. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Okay, so first things first, if things had gone according to my plan, I would have a guest here right now, and we would be continuing the Pride Month series. We're going to have a week off from that because I'm still on vacation. And so getting things together is not really happening. Another housekeeping note. After we go live here in about 2 hours, I'm going to be live with the members of my membership, my YouTube membership over on Zoom. If you are a member of the YouTube membership, which probably needs a name, but whatever, then you should have gotten in the community tab, there's info about how to join. It's a Zoom link like it always is. Okay, so now that I've gotten this out of the way, if you're coming for Pride Month content, my bad, y'all. We'll be back to that in the future, just not today. Okay, but today we're going to talk about how you can pick your next vacation destination, what you should be keeping in mind, and what are my recommendations for you based on the incredible number of places I've gone to this year, just this year alone. So we're talking about traveling in 2024. I want this to be a group project. So if you have suggestions, drop them. If you have places you have been to recently and you hate, drop them. We like that too. But yeah, we're going to get into it. So one of the reasons this came up today is that a friend of mine is in Rome and she went to Trevi Fountain. And I haven't been in Rome in close to 20 years. It's been close to 20 years since I've been in Rome. But when I went in the middle of the afternoon, you could just walk up to Trevi Fountain, throw your little coin in, do a little dance, make a little wish, get down tonight, right there in the square, whatever, no problem. And the photo she showed today was absolutely insane. Let me see if I can find it real quick. It's like 8 people deep trying to get to the fountain for I don't understand. I do not understand. Let me see if I can find this real quick. So one of the things that's coming up for us now that I don't think we saw in the past, or I don't remember experiencing in the past, is over tourism in a way that like really makes the experience unpleasant. So this is what it looks like. This is what she posted. This is what Trevi Fountain looks like. It's not a very good angle. I also have a new camera and a new little light thing, so I'm working on a new setting, so we'll see. I don't quite know what's going to happen. But yeah, it's like hundreds of people all there at the same time. And I think that, we've seen that in a lot of places. We see it. We talk about over tourism or the beginnings of over tourism in a lot of places. A lot of places outside of the US, um, but there are places around the world that distinctly see the results of over tourism, like Rome, like Venice. Where else? Is Venice the place that is now offering like you have to pay to get in during the daytime if you don't live there? Get into the center? I think it might be Venice or it's somewhere else. You have to pay. You got to pay a toll to just walk in. Because why is so many y'all here? So that's something to consider when we plan a vacation, because people are getting to my next point ahead of me. Like Stephanie says, summers are hard. All the people, all the high prices. So traveling, yes, it's Venice that has that. And then someone said they went to Trevi Fountain at 2 a.m. Yasmin, and it was still crazy in the summer. So I think part of your planning for your next vacation has to be, do you need to go where everybody else is going? If you don't, Okay, right? If you need to go to Rome in the summertime, what does that vacation look like for you? I was in Jamaica last week. It's not high season. I'm assuming high season there is December based on the weather, which we're also going to talk about in a minute. Um, and I talked to an employee at the resort we were at. We're at an all inclusive, which I think we need to talk about a little bit here. But we're at this all inclusive. Um, and the employee was like, I was like, how's it going? She's like, I'm bored. Okay. I was like, why? Why? She's like, oh, because during low season, like there's nothing to do here. There's like no one here. But what that meant for me was that anytime I went to the beach, there was always a chair available. And they had two paddle boards. And there was only one time where both paddle boards were taken, and I would have had to wait. One time when I wanted paddleboard, where the paddle boards weren't available. But if all these chairs were taken, you go to these resorts and like they're full from morning to evening. I'm like, if I had come in December, would I never get a seat at this beach? Would I never? And so over tourism isn't just or avoiding the crowds. Over tourism is more of like can we call it a geopolitical issue? And crowds on resorts are different. I'm not going to call that over tourism. I don't know what we'd call that though. Lily, do you guys know Lily? She spoke at the first Exodus Summit. Lily would have an answer for what that actually is. What we could call the crowds at the. I know she would know the word. Anyhow, so it was nice being in a place when it wasn't crowded. And I think that's part of what you have to consider. Where are people going? And is that where you want to go? CK says that's why she didn't care for Sintra while she was in Portugal. Over tourism, it was overwhelming and not in a Disneyland way. I didn't find Sintra. Okay. CK, I'm going to push back on that based on my experience last year. I went last year. I'm not saying you're wrong about over tourism. I'm saying that I've recently really been in tune with the difference between a city that is made for locals that foreigners like to visit and a location that is like so centered around tourism that it seems like no locals would go there. And that's how Sintra felt to me. It didn't feel like there was too many people. It just felt that like everything was made for tourists. You know what I mean? You hit the town square and everything is like one of those tacky restaurants, but it's like, here are our menus, come eat here, come eat. That's what that felt like for me in Sintra. Now you may have experienced it differently. You may have had like way too many people. But last April, that's not what I just experienced, but like everything's a little cheesy and touristy. And so that's another thing to consider too when you're thinking about your vacation. Do you want to go to a place that feels like, oh, tourists live here? I mean, like locals live here and go here and do the things here. Or do you want to like experience Disneyland in a city? And Disneyland in a city isn't wrong, right? It's a choice you can make. But I think a lot of times we don't necessarily know we're making that choice until we go there. Like when I was in Edinburgh, this video is already all over the place and we're not even 10 minutes into it, but we're gonna work this out. When I was in Edinburgh this year, I did a walking tour. And at one point I said to the tour guide, like, do the locals go to any of these places? And she was like, oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. We would not be caught dead here. And I'm like, I'm getting a walking tour of the city. And like 90% of the places I'm seeing, between 90 and 100 are places that like locals would not go to. So what have I actually seen of the city? You know what I mean? Like, what have and I don't necessarily think you need to like aim for a local experience because like, what is a local experience? It flattens the people in that region to kind of like one-dimensional caricatures. I don't like that, like live like a local phrase. But why is a walking tour things that locals would never do? She was like, oh no, we would not be here. We don't go. I said, do they come? No. She said, we don't come here. Your entire tour. And we were like at this point in like a shopping district, but I could tell that no one, these shops are not shops are for tourists. Like everything was built up for tourists to come, as opposed to like when I was in Glasgow, which is just the other side of Scotland, a few days earlier, you could tell that like the things I was experiencing were things that people who live there still experienced as well. Like this is where they come to shop, this is where they go to eat, these are the things they do. And it was not like that. And Cardiff felt like you could feel what the locals were doing in Edinburgh. Mm-mm-mm. Not at all. Okay, so let me get back to ooh. Rich says even Rocky Mountain National Park has experienced over tourism. You have to permit to go to certain parts within a certain time during the summer. Yep. Mm-hmm. All right. The French Quarter, NOLA, the locals can't stand it. But now, is that they can't stand it because there's too many tourists, or they can't stand it because it is focused on attracting tourists? Now, I think that as we talk about this, some of that is a cycle, right? Like if this area of your city is changing to attract more tourists, you don't get more tourists, right? Like if everything is like uh, a trinket souvenir shop and a restaurant that locals have, like a new restaurant locals don't eat it, that kind of stuff, and that charge prices that only tourists would pay, you're going to end up with more tourists and less locals there. So, yeah. All right. Okay. So, ES says as she gets older, or as they get older, our cities are not appealable to me, but I can understand first timers wanting to go, and they should. For instance, Italy, I love small cities like Lucca, Ravenna, Bologna. Is it Bologna? Is it Bologna? It's not Bologna. I don't think it's Bologna. But I actually don't know how to pronounce that in Italian. Um, it feels really good sometimes just to get on here and admit, like, I don't know that. I don't know that. Mm-mm. All right. So when we think about where we're going to pick our next vacation spot, there's a little bit of research that you should do. I also want to be really careful at one thing that kind of bugs me a little bit. There's a habit that some people have, especially in online spaces, to declare a location uncool when Black people start going there. So when I say what I was about to say, which is when you're thinking of your next vacation spot, you should pay attention to how popular it is in the moment. I don't mean, I very specifically do not mean once Black people start going there, it's uncool. We heard that about Miami. We heard that about Tulum. We hear about anywhere that like we start seeing more, especially more younger Black people. We also start hearing how like uncool that place is. I'm asking you to be mindful of where masses of people are going, regardless of who they are and what they look like. And I'm also asking you to keep in mind that things are not uncool just because Black people do them. But y'all already know that because you're here. So it's just I see it online and it's like a little burr under my skin. It annoys me. Okay, CK says I experienced NOLA French Quarter off season. It was amazing, fresh experience. Good morning to you, Marilyn from Blue Haven. Now, Marilyn has a property, bed and breakfast, bed or breakfast, I don't know, in Jamaica, which I think also parts of Jamaica suffer from over tourism. We were just talking to someone when I was there who went to Negril and went to Rick's Cafe, and she was like, it was absolutely insane there. She was like, it was just a madhouse of people. And this is during the off season, right? It's during, we were there late May, beginning of June, right? That's the off season, and it was still insane. So I know during high season, it's crazy. Ooh, this is actually a good comment. I realize that there are cities where I know I'm a tourist and there are places where I really want to explore living like a local. This will vary for each person. And what living like a local means will vary for each person as well. That's a good comment. But I was saying about Jamaica, about Maryland, like there's ways to experience a city, like staying in someone's home, renting something more local. Although I can't really say that many. I wish we were still in the age where I could say great things about Airbnb, but we've passed that era. We've passed it. But there are ways to get more into community. And that's something that can really be beneficial for you on your vacations. All right. Okay, so Maryland is not serving breakfast to anyone besides my mama. Yes. Okay, so rich, another good thing to think about, because it's Pride Month. Jamaica's just so homophobic. It's funny in that I lived in Jamaica almost 30 years ago. Almost 30 or almost 40? Almost 40 years ago. More than 35 years ago, I lived in Jamaica. And while not dismissive, your current, the way things are currently, is so much better than it used to be. It's so much better. Woo! It's so much better than it used to be. But also, you have to think about, are you going to be safe where you go, right? Is who you are going to be respected and nurtured? Because there's no point in going to any place and spending your money, your hard-earned dollars there, and not feeling like your personhood is being shown equal value and respect as someone else. And that's one of the reasons I probably haven't been to a resort in Jamaica in a very long time, is because I know a lot of resorts have the sort of feel of, the white people get to eat first, right? They focus on the non-black guests when they think about when service is an issue. If there's a debate about anything, right? We give the good service to the white people, and the black people, those are our cousins. They don't really need the good service. And I was surprised to say that the resort I went to was not like that. It was very good. The service, I'm not going to say the service was very good. I'm going to say the service was equally the same to everyone, right? It was very meh to everybody. So, very meh, very meh. All right, so we're going to think about certain things. I'm going to get back to on track. There's a list. There's actually notes and a list for this, but you know how I do. I'm never going to stay that much on track. We talked about over tourism. Where are the places that you want to avoid, or you want to be careful about when you go, because you know that it's at some parts of the year, and maybe 90% of the year, it's going to be terribly packed. So in the comments, it's a group project today. In the comments, drop down those places that you know that are so packed, it makes it uncomfortable or not enjoyable, right? I think that we talked about Rome. I think London can be like that a lot. When I was there last year, May, I think it was May. It was raining. It's the weather wasn't even good. And everywhere I went, there was a person. There was a human. I could not, why are there so many? I live in a city of 23 million people, and it felt like less people than there were in London. It just felt like there were so many people. And maybe because they don't know how to flow well, or there were so many so many tourists, they weren't flowing. It just felt like I'm going to lose my stuff here. Um, okay, so Aileen says Paris, NYC. Charles Bridge in the Czech Republic. Rich says Mount Rushmore. Damn it, I didn't share her name yet. We'll talk about the resort probably at the end of this. Jay says everywhere was like that when it opened back up. Okay, so our Black Utopia says, I loved London and Madrid, which were packed during the worst season, but it was lovely to see that many folks out there. I love energy. However, Cancun had too many folks to be enjoyable. And you went to Cancun with us, right? So you enjoyed yourself, right? But and we went to Cancun during the low season. There were so many humans, so many bodies, so many bodies. All right, anyone else have an idea of places that are like, is too many people for them to be comfortable? Alicia Caldwell says Venice and Santorini. See, I have never been to Greece because it always, in my brain, feels like a very hard vacation to plan, in the fact that the hard part for me is there are too many options. How do I narrow down where to go? Jay brings up a good point. Did I say all the words in that sentence? I don't know. Paris is about to be packed. The Olympics, right? Like, if you are not a people person, now why would you go to something like the Olympics in Paris when it's going to be nothing but wall to wall people in? Wall to wall people in. I also think that I have certain experiences in my brain where my response to it is, if I'm not willing, I can do anything. But if I'm not willing to pay the price to do it how I want to do it, the way I want to experience it, I'm not going to do it. Right? Like, for me to go to the Olympics in Paris, there would have to be some exclusive thing I could pay my way into, where like a car comes to get me and takes me, like like an Olympic shuttle comes to take me, like where I don't have to think about anything and I don't have to be with people. I'm not like taking the train or whatever, the metro, to get from point A to point B. No, no. Like, I have a ticket in hand. I have a handler who picks me up and takes me to. That's what I would need to, because otherwise, why are there so many humans around me? Why are there so many humans around me? I don't understand, right? Why are the hotels so, I want to be in a hotel that's like so expensive that it's not fully booked out, right? Like, I don't need to be in a hotel where like, if they get my room wrong, there's no other room options because everything's sold out. And that might just be how it is in Paris during the Olympics. So for me, know that there are certain experiences in the world that I can't half budget. I need to full on find somebody with a bag of cash and spend it all, because I'm not going to enjoy the like regular way to do it. All those people, all those people. And like, I know they're gonna have a great experience. I know the people who are going. Listen, this is not shade. This is not me being shady. This is me being very aware of who I am. Those people who go to Paris for the Olympics are going to have a great time. They are going to enjoy it. It is going to be wonderful. I don't think I would enjoy it. If I'm a Taurus, I love being inside. If I'm anywhere in the world and I'm not enjoying it, my first response is like, I'll just go back to the room. I'm gonna go back. When I was in London last year and it was cold, I was like, Mom, I'm gonna go back to the hotel. I'm not enjoying the feeling of being outside. All them humans, if I can't pay my way into some exclusive experiences, I don't want it. I don't want it. All right. So So JG says Brazil during World Cup was crazy, but the one in Joburg wasn't or didn't seem that packed. Yeah, I could see Brazil during World Cup being absolutely insane. It's next World Cup is North America, right? US, Canada, and Mexico, which is, I think, a terrible decision, but they don't let me vote. They don't let me vote. Love Liaison 65 says Venice at the height of tourist season can be a lot to take in. For me, though, it's so beautiful they don't mind. There's nothing that beautiful to me. Okay, so we talked about over tourism. We talked about some places. Someone else mentioned Las Vegas. Yes. All them people in Vegas? Child. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Don't want it. Don't want it. I talked to a flight attendant the other day. I was flying on Virgin Atlantic from London, from Heathrow, and she was going to have a trip to Vegas, and she was like, whatever I can do to get out of it. She was like, I don't want it. And she's never been to Vegas in her life. I was like, you have to like, at least, she's lives in outside of London. I was like, at least one time, if your job is flying you to Vegas and putting you up in Vegas, at least one time, just go to Vegas and experience it. Just one time. But like, you don't, it's for me, it's not a place I need to like repeatedly go to. Oh, so Brittany Joyce's tourist season in my home city, and I'm currently in the grocery store, is two people leave at the moment. And she's in Virginia Beach. She probably didn't want me to say that since she didn't say it herself, but I'm gonna say it. She's in Virginia Beach. And if Virginia Beach is too peoply, what isn't peoply? Let's see. Vegas is never a vacation. So I needed to have gone to Vegas during the height of the pandemic when everything was like $3. Because then my exclusive experience may have been like 10, right? But now paying my way into, or like knowing someone my way into exclusive experiences, or like not being in crowds is unlikely. And the prices have like they are really trying to make their money back plus. Plus. Mm-mm, mm-mm. Oh, so Jay lives in Nashville, so every day is something. Some of us just live in cities where every day is something. That's something we see a lot in Mexico City is that the city has changed over the past 4 years since the beginning of since the people have discovered Mexico City. It has changed. And it hasn't brought out the best in anybody. There are lovely people coming down. There are unlovely people coming down. Some of the locals are very kind and welcoming to foreigners, and some of the locals are not very kind and welcoming to foreigners. It's just not on its best. So Stephanie's going to Vegas in November for a conference. She thinks it'll be better this time. I've only been in the spring, summer before. I've probably been to Vegas like 6 times. And it's not bad. It's just not great, right? Like it's just not like I cannot wait to get back to Vegas. Now, I think the last time I had a I cannot wait to get back to Vegas experience, my friend lived there and I stayed with her. I stayed with her. I had another local friend who was living there that I met from a previous trip. She lived out there. I met her on a previous trip. And we just hung out and I really liked her. Like I have friends, you know what I mean? Like being with people who live in Vegas was a good experience. Just being on the strip. But if you know Stephanie, you know when she goes to the conference, she's gonna go to attend one day and then she's gonna be in her room for the rest of the 2 or 3 days. You can tell her I said that in case she didn't hear. Brandy has a residency. She was in Vegas. You'd go. That's a good one. Mm-mm. All right. So we are going to talk more about over tourism. We talked about over tourism abroad and in the US. We're also going to talk about where, if you're traveling for any length of time, if you're traveling for a long time, you may need to consider time zones. I was pretty much worthless for work when I was in Europe. And I know people who were, so that's like 6 time zones away. I know people who are making things happen like 12 time zones away. But I was 6 and I was like, no, I can't. I can't actually work with how would I get work done? How would I get work done? How would I even do like non-work things? Like my best friend and I have a weekly call that we do every week. We haven't had that call in like 2 months because 6 hours away is enough it's hard enough to have where do we our scheduled weekly call is at like 3 a.m. for me. So no, no. And then sometimes it was at 1 a.m. Also a no. If it's past 10, I'm not getting on the phone. Um, if we had been 12 hours away, I think we would have made it work better than that 6 hour stuff. And the other thing, so that's if you're working, if you're going for a long time, I think time zones are really important, right? So what can you do you need to work? And if so, what time zones can you function on well? Where can you get stuff done? If you're not going for a long time, you're going for a 1 week vacation, what how far away can you travel without jet lag kicking your tail when you get back? And I'm gonna say this to my more mature friends, it does not get like it just gets worse. It just keeps getting worse. Recovering from jet lag just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. Um, and so for me, no. Like if I'm only have like a week, I can't go that many time zones away. I don't know about you guys. I just can't. Now, I do think that something an old coworker friend of mine used to do, but I found from her, I know a lot of you guys are probably doing it now, is whenever she came back from vacation, she would schedule an extra day of work off. So she would her schedule her vacation. She'd come back on a Monday and then also take the Tuesday off. And truly, it was smart. The best, the best thing I've seen, and I'm glad she did it. Uh, but going right back to work the next day. I remember talking in Marrakesh to someone on the Exodus Summit squad who was getting back on like a Sunday from Marrakesh and going to work on a Monday. Girl, I'm tired. I'm tired for you just hearing that. Take a day. Add it. This is my advice to you wherever you're going. And even if you're just going on a staycation, you might not need to. But if you're leaving town at all, even if you're just going to the next state, take a day off when you get back and rest. If you have the day, take the day. You're sick, right? Take some time. Because going right back to work, mm-mm. Oh, Celeste says if I come back on a Monday, I'm going back to work on a Friday. Okay, Miss Lady, that's the way to do it. That is the way to do it because I feel now jet lag takes me like 3 or 4 days to like start sleeping from and then like actually feeling good. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how long it takes to feel good. So I got back from Europe from Europe to Jamaica. And Jamaica is in for the US Central Time. I thought it was Eastern. It's not. It's Central Time. And so I left, came here, and then I went back to Eastern Time. So I'm on a time an hour ahead, and then I go 2 hours back because Mexico in the US time zones is in mountain time. Mexico City is in mountain time in the US time zones. I know it's actually central time zone, it's just whatever, but explaining it to a US audience the best I can, it operates in mountain time right now. Mm. Okay, Leslyn Moore has never had an issue with jet lag. Wow. Mm-mm. Um, Adelia, who knows everything since she got her degree and know everything, put me onto an app that was supposed to help with jet lag. I can't remember what it's called. Let's see. I may have removed it from my phone. Because when I tell you that it may have just been the experience, like where I was coming from and when I was coming back, but their advice was so terrible. Let's see if I still have this. I don't see it. But the advice for like, it may be better in a different flying a different way or coming back. I don't remember the app, but there are apps that will help you figure out how to beat jet lag. It was like stay up. It literally was like the advice to adjusting for jet lag was like after when I was leaving the place and traveling back, I was to stay up for 24 hours and drink a cup of coffee every hour for those 24 hours. That's your advice is I just don't sleep? I think it was Time Shifter, Nichelle. I think you're right. That sounds familiar. It literally was like stay up for 24 hours and drink a cup of coffee every hour for 24 hours. And it had like a whole schedule. And it was like you're awake, you're awake, you're awake, you're awake. Drink a cup of I don't drink coffee. So, okay. If I have a cup of coffee, I'm going to run and this is on the plane. I'm going to run around like a lunatic on the plane, like trying to open doors and like jumping through the windows. I just don't like I can't drink coffee after noon in any time zone I'm in because if I do, I'm going to be up all night long. My coffee, if I do drink coffee, it has to be before noon. Drinking a cup of coffee, one cup of coffee every hour, staying up for 24 hours is not the way for me to beat jet lag. I was like, this might work for somebody else. It's not for me. So I don't know a way to beat jet lag. I just fall into it. If I need to sleep, I sleep. If I need to be awake, I'm up. I used to feel bad. Like I should be asleep now. I should be doing, it's nighttime. I need to be in bed. I say, no, if I'm up and I feel like painting a room, I'm gonna paint a room, whatever. I'm up. Like I don't fight it anymore. But yeah, that app. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying that for me, it didn't work. So think about time zones when you're traveling, when you're picking your next destination spot. How long will you need to adjust? How long will you have to adjust when you come back? Because if you don't have as long as you want, maybe don't go as far away. Think about what you want to experience when you're there. Now, I talked earlier about paying my way out of things. I think that when we talk about what our next vacation is going to be, we have to have a serious look about our budgets and not just our budget, but like our budget and our expectations, right? There's not a single place on this planet that is not more expensive than it was 5 years ago. I went to a lot of I think in May, Google told me this morning that I went to 15 different cities in May, all in different countries. Every place I went, people were like, inflation, 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 inflation. Things are more expensive. And I think a lot of times for the Americans watching, we've been told that these places are inexpensive or those places are inexpensive or you know what I mean? Like usually, wherever them brown people are, it's very cheap to live there. It's not. It's not. It is not. It is not. It is not inexpensive. So, right? Um, and that doesn't mean it's not in your budget, but the idea that you're going to go somewhere and get like I was on the beach in Puerto Vallarta and the mango man came by, and I believe one mango was $4. But like I really wanted a mango. But also, why is the mango $4? A mango should cost 40 cents. Why is it? And that's not just like the beach markup. It's also that like as a foreigner, you're not going to get local prices most of the time if you're an identifiable foreigner. Um, and then these places are crazy expensive, and we've been told that they're not all our lives. We've been lied to, and some of that is that the pricing has changed, and some of that is just that the expectations I think have changed as well. Leslyn, I'm from Jamaica. That $4 mango, I was like, what are we? I really want this mango though. Listen, Goshen is in London. I talked about this last year. Their fruit tastes like colors. It does not taste. It's not flavors, it's colors. This is a slightly red fruit. It's a slight orange taste. This tastes like pale yellow. It does not. Every time I went into the grocery store in London and bought fruit, I was like, why are y'all playing games? These are not blueberries. These are blue. Like, it's blue water. It tastes like blue water. Not like Kool-Aid, but it's like blue water. Someone put some like some like food coloring in water, and that's what it tastes like. I'm very I'm still not over it. This is an experience I had last year and I'm still not over it. I went to London this year. I did not buy any fruit. Not a single time. I will not do that. I'm done. Done. Um, mm-mm, mm-mm. But yeah, no, like London's expensive. People are always like, the idea. I don't think people actually say it. I don't think we say it. And sometimes we do, but like Africa is really inexpensive. I know that when I want to go to Nigeria and do Nigeria my way, I'm going to look at my wallet and say, oh, I forgot I was poor. Right? Because like I can't out Nigeria a Nigerian. I know that. Like the way I want to experience it is going to cost a lot of money because the people who are experiencing it that way over there already have a lot of money. There's a lot of money in that country. And so yes, I could experience it a different way, but I know what I want. And this is the point of this part of the section of the video. Understand your budget and your expectations. Make sure they align with where you're going. As an American, not really, whatever, shorthand for this. As an American in Nigeria, I might be considered automatically considered without any due diligence, might be considered wealthy, right? Coming from foreign. But compared to wealthy Nigerians, I know I'm poor. I know that. It's not. So if I want like a top tier experience, I'm not going, I, I'm gonna feel bad every time. You're charging me what for what? And so I understand that. I know I need to go to not like countries like that, countries that have, and most countries do, a very, very obvious gap between the haves and the have-nots. You got to come with your pocketbook stuffed, right? If you want to have that top tier experience, which I really value. If you don't, you don't, right? You got to align your budget with the experience you want and go to a place that can support it. I told you guys from the beginning, 2018 when I went to Switzerland, I was like, I didn't know I was poor. I showed up here and Switzerland was like, we're not sure we should have. No, everyone was really nice. And there was no border to go through because I was already in the zone, whatever. And I got there by bus. But I got off the bus and I was like, there's a Rolex ad and a this watch ad and like billboard. And like the taxis were like $17 million to go to block. Oh, I'm not, okay, right? Have to align your budget to what places you want to go and the experiences you want to have. And some of that is just research. Some of that is seeing what people are doing and what their experiences are. I think we don't get enough of like, this is what I experienced and this is what it cost me. And usually I think when I see that content, a lot of it is like, but I paid with points, right? Look at this lovely, people are like, I am in business class on my flight, but I paid 3 shekels and 25,000 points for it, right? It's not like this is the dollar amount in thingy. And so it's hard to kind of know a lot of times to approximate what experiences will cost in different places, especially like hotels and stuff. But look online, do the comparison. Do the comparisons. Yeah, Rosine said she went to Switzerland, didn't touch a taxi once. It cost way too much. Babe, you got to let people have their own experiences. And in my experience, when I was in Switzerland, I was poor. Now, that may not be based on like, that's not based on like asset to asset, because I don't know what anybody else has. It's based on what I want to spend on things, right? It's based on what I want to spend. Like, why is the beginning of a meal in a Chinese restaurant, the tea, the soup, and the salad, $20? All right. And also, I don't think owning a home has any reflection on how much money you actually have, right? Like, there are a lot of communities that have a lot of money that don't own homes. They all rent. Like, there are a lot of locations around the world where people are much more likely to rent than to own home. Owning a home is a very American ideal. Um, I definitely went to Switzerland and was like, why is everything so damn expensive? I cannot afford to stay here. The people who live there can afford to stay there. I can't. I took my behind on. All right. Now, Court, I'm not saying cross it off a list. I'm just saying make sure your budget is aligned with where you're going if you want to have the experience. Okay, so we talked about over tourism. We talked about time zones. We talked about aligning your budget. Now I want to talk about the places that I just really like, right? So like I really liked uh I really liked Glasgow this year. And there was no like this is not me saying that you should all visit it. This is me saying that it helped a lot of the cities I went to this year helped me figure out like the kind of cities I want to visit. And yes, I do want to visit cities. I know I'm not really a country girl. I really want to be out um, in the trails, in the forest somewhere. Uh, okay, wait, before we get off, uh, Brittany brings up a good point. Isn't there a site that lets you compare cities and their costs for things like food, et cetera? I can't remember which one, but I think it exists. It does exist. You can use numbeo.com. It's really good. Oh, Junket has the answer. And this is why we're squad over here. The Earth Awaits and Numbeo. Both of those answers are, both of those sites are tailored for people who are going to live there. So you're probably not going to experience the prices that you see on the site, but they're a good, I always think them as like a good comparison, right? So if you compare the price in one city to another city for like, and the eating out price is significantly higher in one than the other, but you already know what your hotel expense is going to be because like the prices in Numbeo and the Earth Awaits, like housing is built into it. All those things. If you don't need to worry about housing because you already know what your hotel is going to cost, Numbeo will give you a good idea of compared to these two cities, which one is going to cost more for transportation, which one will cost more for eating out, that kind of stuff. So that's the. I don't use it to plan vacations. Love Liaison 65 says Nomad List is good as well. On my vacations, I typically know what I'm gonna spend on like the fixed expenses. Like I know what the flight is gonna cost. I know what the hotels are gonna cost. I try to find a hotel. I'm very much a vibes person. So like I look at it, I look at the website, I look at the price. It feels like it's a good match. It doesn't feel like I'm paying too much. And then I book. What does it cost? Like, what did this last vacation? I'm on day 70. I think this is day 70 now. Tomorrow will be day 71, I think. What did be 70 days cost? I still don't know because it's not my business. I booked it, I paid for it. Everything is paid off. But what did it actually cost? It's not my business. I don't want to know. I don't mind denial about certain things, and that's one of them, right? So I know that like uh I know how much I pay for things, but I don't add it all up. My vacations are not about budgets, is what I'm trying to say. My vacations are like, do I feel comfortable paying this much money? The vibe of paying this much more money, which is why some places I may even spend more than I would in some other places, but like it feels like it makes sense, right? These numbers make sense. Um, and so it just feels good. It's all vibes. I don't budget for my vacations. So I just see a good question here. Um, how much for a luxurious time there, including business class flights, 5 figures? Uh, if you're talking about Switzerland, I don't, it depends on where you're coming from, right? If you're including a business class flight, I think that that's the biggest thing. And where you're staying, it you could do it for four. You could do it under $10,000, definitely. You could do it, and it depends on how long you're going to be there, right? But a luxurious time there, you could do it a luxurious time anywhere for like 6 figures. And in most places, you could do a luxurious time for, you know, 5,000. It just depends on, or less. It depends on where you're going, how long you're going to be there. So that's a really hard question to answer. Um, but Vibes. My budget is vibes. All right. What is your budget? Where do you want to go? What kind of experience do you want to have? A lot of times even in places that are like less expensive, more expensive things can creep up. Like experiences can creep up. Like Johannesburg is not a super expensive city, right? If you're looking at like the average hotel cost, right? But if you want to do a safari, that's going to add a couple of bucks. Like going out to Kruger and doing that stuff is going to add a couple dollars real quick. I see you changing the subject, LO. I have not been home. I go home tomorrow. I'm returning to the same residence. I am not moving. I hate moving. I may live in that apartment for the rest of my life. I don't know. Like I really hate moving. So I'm still there. Although don't tell my landlord that. Okay. So what are we looking for? We're looking for places that we like. We're looking for places that are not too crowded. We're looking for the weather, right? What is the weather, I think, is a tricky one because most people want to go to, if they're in the cold, they want to go to the warm. If they're in the warm, they want to go to the cooler. They want to switch their weather. But the places they typically pick are the places that everyone else is picking. And so the weather pushes you into expensive places, right? So like if it's every February, I could make it till February when I lived in Ohio before I had to go on vacation. Every February, it was like, after like year 3, I figured out February was my breaking point. Because it's been dark since September, just dark. October, dark. By February, I was like, must done. Well, a lot of people need a break around that time too. Fortunately, I don't have to do like school breaks. So I don't have to go in the summer anywhere. I don't have to limit my vacation to spring break. But if you do, you got to be kind of careful about that stuff because if you go where everyone's going, you're going to experience over tourism, the crazy prices, all that stuff. When I started this trip, I had started in Bermuda and it was spring break. Bermuda on a good day is expensive. Bermuda in spring break? You wanted to stay at originally, I think was like $1,300. And both Stephanie and I needed 2 rooms. Us and our mothers. $1,300? Not for a suite, not for a chateau, a night in a hotel room. Gross. I'm sure it's lovely. I really want to get back to Bermuda. I really, really enjoyed Bermuda and would like to get back. But I need to go during their off season. Like not for shoulder season. I need like the elbow season. Like, what's up? When is that? It was beautiful. I think so far that might be my favorite island. Haircut was done in London. I tried a new gel today. She recommended it. And so the new gel needed a new technique. And so it's different. I don't know if you can see, but especially in the back, it's different on this side than this side because I did not have a technique down when I did this side. By the time I got over here, I had the technique down. So this is like soft and smushy, and this is kind of like a little harder. Anyhow, I got it done with my same lady in London. Her name is Fola. She is the curl coach. I'm going to drop her link because I really love her. And like she's really good with education, that kind of stuff. And I think she does online stuff too. I will say that hairdresser, I wasn't sure about cutting my hair. Blow drying my hair before, when it was like here, took about 3 hours before it was 90% dry. It now takes 15 minutes to be 90% dry. And you wouldn't understand how much joy that brings me. So much joy to go from 3 hours of this to 15 minutes. I bought a hooded dryer because like I just couldn't do that. And even with a hooded dryer, because it really gets this top really well, but not the sides, it even that still took a long time to dry down here. Okay, Nubianette says south of France is surprisingly affordable. Less expensive places to eat. Spend comfortably eating out with local food. Okay, so now we're going to do another part of the group assignment. Just like Nubianette did, I want the rest of you to write in the comments places you found where for the money you spent, it felt like you got a good deal, right? We're not going to say the cheapest places. We're not going to say this is super affordable because that means different things, different budgets, right? But like, where did you go and you were like, yes, I spent the money I spent, well worth where I went? Let me know. Let me know. I'm trying to think of where I could say that about where I went right now. It wasn't Edinburgh. It's never London. Because why does it cost so much? Malaysia. Lake Como. Okay. I stayed now 5 years ago or more. I stayed in a really, really nice hotel in Malaysia. One of the Marriotts. Seth says Portugal. Where in Portugal? Are you talking about Lisbon? Janae says Lake Como. Ooh. Geraldine says Palermo, Sicily. Ooh, Boquete, Panama. Italy, Portugal, and Paris. Paris is so hit or miss though, right? Like, depends on where you stay. Depends on what time of the year it is. Was the yacht worth the money? Okay. For me, because I really, really love service. And I really love bougie things. Yes, it was. Absolutely worth the money. Absolutely worth the money. I had one of the employees on the boat messaged me the other day and they're like, you're never gonna guess what you missed. And I was like, what? They're like, so a couple weeks ago, Mercedes-Benz chartered the boat for themselves for the Grand Prix. And he's like, you're never gonna guess who's here. And I was like, is it gonna be my husband? Lewis Hamilton. But he's like, no. John Legend. Like, I can't believe I'm missing John Legend serenading people on the boat. But like, he's not my husband, so it's fine. But yeah, no, I would go back on that boat 17 times. You cannot keep me away. You cannot keep like that yacht, that Ritz-Carlton Yacht Collection. Now, here's the thing. Would I get into debt to go on that boat? No. Would I press my budget super hard and eat rice and beans to go on that boat? No. If I have the money, I'm gonna go on that boat. If I don't have the money, we not. It's not taking me to Mars. It's not taking me to the moon, right? So, but it was. I'm not sure I've had a better travel experience in my life, just from like the logistics and um, the logistics and the service level. Liter When I tell you service, I mean before we even got on the boat, we got out of a taxi, took our luggage out. People are coming to like tag our luggage. My mama, if you know my mama, this will not surprise you at all, starts wandering off. She wants to go take photos of the boat. She's doing stuff. She's doing stuff. She's doing stuff. Here comes some man tracking me down. I guess I kind of look like her or whatever. And he's like, "Is this your bag?" And I was like, What?" He said, "No one claimed this bag. It's your bag." And I was like, "Oh, it's that lady right there. It's the one who just walked away with not a care in the world about what's going on with her life. That's her. That's her bag right there." But like very much of a like, it was our responsibility to tell them what bags were ours. And because she didn't take care of her responsibility, he was taking care of it for her. That kind of service level where it's not like, bag didn't make the boat because you didn't take care of your business. It was very much like, "Hi, you were supposed to do a thing and you did." I was like, it wasn't her over there. So the service, it like, and that was like I said, those weren't even like the employees on the boat. Those are like local staff people they hired. But it was just so every part of it was just so attentive. Anyhow, I can talk about that 1,000 times. But we're talking about places that we think are worth the money. Teddy Davis says Guatemala. Aileen Brown says Howth, Dublin. I think Dublin is one of the places, if I went to this experience, that were surprisingly, like I thought Dublin was going to be kind of corny with like that Disneyland vibe. I took the train out to, I didn't make it to Howth, but I took the train out in the other direction to where my friend lives. I got off the train and I wanted to fight her. Immediately wanted to fight her. And I wanted to fight her because to get to her home, the train runs like next to the ocean. Her commute home is just like train and ocean. And I look at this, she's like, every day. Every day. Now, some of those days are terrible, like in the winter. I don't want that. But I was like, getting into the city, you're like a 10-minute ride away, and that 10 or 15 minutes ride away, a 10 or 15 minutes ride is all along the ocean. This I was like, "This is how y'all are living?" She was like, "Yeah." And then I got there to her little town, and it is like, you know, those Lifetime movies where they get off in a town in Ireland and it's just cute and quaint. It was like a little bit of that mixed with like a little bit of like Santa Monica 20 years ago, right? We're like, it's not just like there's a pub at a B&B and that's it. It was very much like restaurants and stores and that kind of stuff, but it was just so like cute. It was just, and it's on the water. Y'all are living like this? Why did all I ever see of Dublin is like Temple Bar and people getting drunk? And y'all, this is how y'all are on the water? I was so mad. I was so mad that I had to leave. I was like, I can't just stay here. But yes, Dublin was a place I thought was definitely surprisingly worth the money to me. Rich felt that way about Morocco. I did not feel that way about Morocco. Morocco was definitely 2 thumbs down for me. But we all get to have different experiences, and that's part of the beauty of life. Charles Setta says Naples. Danielle says, was in Lisbon. I felt very good about the money I spent. I feel good about that too. In Lisbon, I feel like now, it may not be 5 years from now. If you're watching this in the future, I don't know. But now, 2024, it feels like you get what you're paying for. Vichy, St. John, Canada. I've never been there. Stephanie has expanded her Portugal answer. Lisbon, Aveiro, Porto, Coimbra, wherever based on if you want city or town life. Nice and Marseille are surprisingly affordable if you like shoulder seasons. I went to Nice in the shoulder season, and it really was the rainy season. Y'all know how I feel about that, so I don't need to get into it again. Danielle's in Barcelona now, and it feels meh in terms of ROI. A lot of that really is like how you experience it, right? Like, what kind of, a lot of times it's like the mood I'm in when I get to the city. If I'm in a bad mood when I get there, like, is it gonna turn it around? I don't know, right? And this is not to diminish what Danielle is saying. I'm saying that we're all going to have different feelings about our ROI in a city. But some cities are just expensive. Love Liaison 65. I have never heard anyone say anything good about Athens. So I'm surprised you said that. I'm not saying you're wrong because this is your experience. I'm saying that most people are like, Athens doesn't really have anything. But let's see. Oh, Classy Hacker wants to group project towns, not cities. She wants small towns. Baby, I don't know. I'm not small. Whatever towns y'all love for a Classy Hacker. Istanbul. Didn't love Istanbul. No, I'm just responding to the comments. But in the comments, please drop towns, not cities. West of Spain, Cuenca. I didn't love Istanbul. I will say the best part of Istanbul for me was going on the ferry between the continents. Getting on the water out there was the best part of Istanbul for me. And I almost forgot. I stayed at the St. Regis? No. Mm-mm. The JW Marriott. I stayed at the JW Marriott Marmarasi, not the one in Istanbul. It's a little bit outside of like Istanbul proper. It's not the JW Marriott Bosphorus. It's the JW Marriott Marmarasi. Bury me there. When I tell you the service was the people amazing. It was really, 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 really good. That was the best part of being in Istanbul for me. The rest of it, I could leave it. That hotel, I was like, I actually messaged Stephanie. I remember this. I messaged Stephanie. I was like, I need to figure out, and this is me to a T if you don't know me. I need to figure out where I can stay at more JWs without like breaking the bank. Because this JW Marriott service level, we stayed in JW Marriott in Cancun service, wasn't as good as this, but was really, really, really nice hotel, good service. The service in Istanbul, the brunch they had, the spread they had for breakfast, amazing. They had a bread girl. I'm sure she has a name. I don't know what her name is. Bread girl is not meant to be dismissive or diminutive. I just don't know how else to explain her. She kept coming by and being like, would you like to try this loaf of something? And I'd be like, I don't eat bread. And she'd come back 5 minutes later, like, what about this? I don't eat gluten. 5 minutes later, what about, she'd come out with a tray of like the best looking pastries you've ever seen and been like, well, these are handmade over there by that guy who's been making them for 40 years and blah, 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 blah. It has blah, blah, blah. Every 5-10 minutes she came by with a tray of bread, some kind of like baked good, sis, please. And so of course, like I had to try it because she's what, like she's doing her hard work, and I don't want her to be penalized because she can't sell me the bread. Not to sell me. It's a buffet. It was included. So like, but I feel like it would be disrespectful for me to tell her no every time she comes around. So I got to tell her yes. And then I got to eat like the smallest little bite of it because I can't eat a lot because gluten. But the bread, if I wanted anything from the buffet, they'd be like, no, no, we'll get it for you. And I'm like, I can just go get it. And they're like, no, 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 no. I'll get it for you. I asked for bacon. I asked if they had any meat because I didn't see meat when I went around the first time. And they said, what do you want? I said, do you have bacon? They said, yeah. They said, do you want beef or pork? I said, pork. My bacon didn't come for like 30 minutes. And I was like, hey, like, I have got nothing but time. I'm not pressed. But like, hey, did y'all remember, you forget about the bacon? And he was like, no. There, I forgot that a lot of people there are Muslim, not all, but a lot of people there are Muslim. So they're like, so we have to clean a piece of the grill, cook it, and then clean it again, right? So like your bacon's coming, but like there was a process. And I was like, if you had told me that, I would have got something else. They're like, no, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. I said, oh. Because in most places, they just wouldn't have bacon for you. They just wouldn't have pork bacon. Like, no, 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 you can have it. You just, you got to like separate things and do things. Okay. I filmed for you guys the buffet from that. And if I don't get anything else up for you guys, I got to get you the buffet. It was like, it was the best buffet spread I've ever seen in my life. Now, it's a lot of bread, on the buffet, so I couldn't eat a lot of it, but woo, all right. All right. Jan says, if you hadn't had a vacation in 30 years and you wanted your first time back in the saddles to speak, where would you go and why? It depends on what I needed. Do I need to be rested or do I need action? Do I want beach? Do I want city? Do I want to see someone around the world that I hadn't seen yet? What do you want, Jan? Tell us in the comments. What do you want? Junket says Thailand. I will agree with this. So, Chiang Mai, Koh Samui was really nice. I went on a yoga retreat, so it wasn't like inexpensive. And I went maybe 2012 to Koh Samui. I've been to Chiang Mai since then and Bangkok since then. But if I would go back. I'd go back. Oh, you want the traveling robe? Girl, I don't know. I've been told to bring it to Fiji and it's going to someone in Fiji, but I don't know anything about anything. I have not been given I was told to wear it. No, I was handed it, and then I was told to bring it to Fiji, and that's literally. I don't know where it goes next. I am a participant, not a planner. I think I'll say, but if you want to come to Fiji, you can come get this robe, Diamond. Come on. Yeah, her commute is beautiful, but she also works for herself and creates her own schedule. So when I say her commute, I mean she goes into the city when she wants to. Watamu, Kenya, small town, classy hacker, beautiful, peaceful, not crowded and affordable. Okay. Is that Ischia? Ischia, Italy? I think we're on the small town train. Antigua, Montserrat, Dominica, years ago. Do I remember the name of this town she lives in? No, but my impression is outside of Dublin proper. In Dublin, you can take the train, like a short distance, not like a Amtrak train, but like and not like a metro, but like a short distance commuter train. Like I would say, like, is it called the Bright Line here in South Florida? Whatever. Um, they have the whole route, as far as I can tell, is next to the ocean without us. Do I know what city she lives in? Let me see if I can find out for you real quick. But yeah, just close to any of those little cities out there. I can't find it. All right, Montreal, my favorite North American city. I went to Montreal once. I accidentally showed up the same weekend as the Jazz Fest. Amazing time. Amazing time. I actually stumbled upon an Indian wedding. More of this. There was a man riding some animal. I don't remember what animal it was, just down the street. More of this. Montreal was a vibe. Also, like 10, 15 years ago. Valencia, Spain. Have you been to Stockholm in the summer? No, those cities over there, I haven't spent a lot of time with them because I know summer sounds nice. Oh, that was the other thing. In Dublin, the sun was up at 5 and went down at like 10 a.m. to p.m. I like long days, but I also need to get my sleep. So why is the sun still? Mm, 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 mm. But no, I haven't been over there. Oh, Rich loves San Miguel de Allende. Great little small town. It's getting less small town, but still got some good small town vibes. KB says there's good food in Athens, but visiting islands is the best part about Greece. How do you decide which Greek island to go to? Zihuatanejo was amazing when our cruise ship started coming into the bay. We went to Ziwa for Adelia's birthday last year. And we had it wasn't like, it's weird because it seems to be a town that really wants tourists, but not a town that like has any infrastructure or care in place for them. Like this is one of the things, and I don't want to sound like super stereotypical about this, is one of the things that you experience living in Mexico is people will find a way to make things work, right? People will find a way to make things work. So right? If I paid you for this, it's gonna happen. I don't know how it's gonna happen. We're going to make it work. We rented a boat for her birthday, and when we got to we had to be there like 30 minutes early. So we got there 30 minutes early for the boat to get on our time, whatever. And we got a message as we got there 30 minutes early, but they had to cancel because something, something, something. Now things happen, right? But I've never been in another part of the country where people weren't like, "Oh, let me email my cousin. Let me call my cousin real quick because he's got a boat." Right? Like it may not be the boat you rented, but like I'm gonna get you. I'm going to show up here with. You're going to have options. You can cancel, or you can get on this boat and do it. It was just like, no, and I've never experienced that anywhere else. Everything were like things like grocery stores and things that you see in more developed um, cities that focus on tourism were not there. Like getting food delivered was a hassle. Like we had to make sure every time we went to the house, back to home, we had food with us because getting food up there was crazy. Getting groceries delivered, no, no. So that kind of stuff where like, you seem like you want tourists, but not enough to have anything in place to make it easy for us. I will say the taxis did not like super overcharge, which was nice. All right, classy hacker. Point Vedra, west of Spain, says Simi, the whole region of Galicia is lovely and very affordable. I wonder how many words I have said incorrectly today. We'll find out one day. Yes. When I visited Dublin last autumn, one of the security guards suggested I visit a house. It'll be on my list for next time. The taxi driver, when I got there, I asked the taxi driver what I should do, and he definitely said health, but I didn't get a chance to make it out. Okay. Stephanie's town list is San Miguel de Allende, Rincon, PR, Puerto Viejo, Costa Rica, and New Orleans. So my mom loves Barcelona down, but she's now switching to Doha. Now, the only thing that makes me not a super fan, uh, makes me not a super fan of those Middle Eastern countries is like the little low-key slavery that happens over there. You know? Does the lady working in your home have her passport? Lady working in your home from the Philippines or from wherever they brought her over for. Does she have her passport or does an agency have her passport? What's going on? It's the only thing. And I don't know if Doha is as bad as some of the other places, but you know, in a number of those countries over there, if you go over as a tourist, I'm thinking specifically about like the UAE, you go over as a tourist and you don't see any locals, you don't interact with anybody locals because nobody working is from there. People there do not work in customer facing situations. People who are working in customer facing situations are from other countries and are reportedly not being treated the best. So the only reason I'm hesitant, but I really enjoyed Doha and Qatar. Oh, I'm gonna butcher this for all of us. Issoire is a French small town. Did we really like Issoire, Junket? Tell me more. And I think this is Surrey, France. Why are y'all want me to mess up on these words? Oh no, Teddy, with that lady, I tried wheat, I tried bread, I tried gluten. She was like, "My job is to get you to eat eat this." So I'm gonna keep coming back. No matter what I said, like I tried multiple things because we were at it for like an hour. She would come back every 5 or 10 minutes for like an hour. I tried. She did not care. And she understood English. She just did not care. She was like, I'm supposed to come around and show this loaf of like sugar bread. Everything was like bread and sugar um to everybody. So you're gonna see this. You don't have to take it, but you're gonna see it. All right. But islands in Denmark and smaller towns outside Copenhagen are more affordable and have great vibes. Okay. Now, judge somebody else, judge my geography teachers, judge the American education system. But I never knew Denmark had islands. Did y'all know that? Denmark has islands? What do they call? Let me hit my Googles real quick. Um, while I'm doing that, if you were around on Friday, you may have seen that Stephanie and I are hosting the Get Your Next Three Clients Challenge because we want all of you. Denmark has 1,419 islands. My goodness. Okay. But we want all of you to be able to travel wherever you want and spend as long as you want there because you are making money your way, how you want, when you want. And so the Get Your Next Three Clients Challenge starts on, I believe, June 16th. There are instructions and information inside of the Exodus Summit Facebook group. The pinned comment on this video gets you inside of the Exodus Summit Facebook group if you're not already there. The Exodus Summit Facebook group is only for Black women. The challenge is only for people who are a part of the Exodus Summit Facebook group. The challenge does require some Facebook involvement. So if you don't have a Facebook account, I would recommend, and you're a Black woman who wants to take this challenge, I'd recommend starting one now, requesting access to the Exodus Summit Facebook group, and then joining us because it's going to be great. All the people who have, I'm not going to say all the people who comment about it say it was a great experience. I know there are people who, being perfectly honest, might tell you they didn't have a great experience, but I can identify why they didn't have a great experience. A lot of us people have too many ideas and couldn't settle down to one, which is why we recommend that for people who are thinking about joining, you have a couple of ideas and are willing to narrow down for one idea for a couple of months. If you only have one idea, that's fine. If you have no idea at all what kind of business you want to run, it's not a challenge for you. If you want to run a product-based business, it's not a challenge for you. This is for people who want to sell services or digital products. They want to reach their customers online and offer their customers something online. This is for you, for Black women who want to reach your customers online, who want to sell a service online, like a coaching or a digital product, but not if you want to sell shoes. I don't know anything about selling shoes. And if you come in the challenge and you're selling shoes, you're going to ask me about pricing for shoes. And baby, I don't know. I just don't know. So super excited about the challenge. Super, super excited. Stephanie's here. Stephanie's excited about the challenge. It is at 3 p.m. for a week, 6 Sunday to Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. I'm getting distracted because I thought Stephanie was talking about a challenge. She's not. She's talking about Fiji. Yes. Okay. So this is for you if you want to get your next 3 clients. If you can figure out, or if you are in a place where you have a business or you have a business idea and you think that getting 3 clients would kickstart your business, would jumpstart you from where you are right now, this is the challenge for you. So I'm excited about this. We do this once or twice a year. This is the one time before the summit. And the summit is the beginning of October. So the chance of us doing it again after the summit, when we're tired, real low. We weren't even going to do it this time. We had to, but we got some requests. So we open it up. It's already halfway sold out. I checked before we went live. Between Friday and Sunday morning, we are more than halfway sold out. So if you want to join the challenge, 'tis time. We talked about it on video. Steph, can you drop the link to that video that we did on Friday? Because at this point, my brain isn't really turning over all the way with the info I need. You'll have accountability partners. You'll have collaboration buddies. You'll have. We always talk about collaboration buddies, accountability partners. But the thing that I think is one of the most valuable things that people don't think about in the challenge is that you're now leaving when the challenge is over. If you come to the sessions, if you participate, you leave with women who now know that what you do and that you're passionate about what you do, right? And you now have a community of cheerleaders who can say, if someone says, in our community, if someone says, I want to get better at making YouTube videos, someone is going to say, have you joined Stephanie Perry's challenge, right? Just same way in our community, from the last challenge, if someone says, I'm not sleeping well, someone is going to say, have you talked to Robin Scott, right? Because she was in the challenge and the women know what she does. So if 30-something women knowing what you do would be valuable to you if advice from Stephanie and I about how to make your business more profitable, how to get more clients, and showing you tools would be profitable to you, sign up. Sign up. The challenge is not free. It is $497. If you can't, if you look at your business and you're like, there's no way I will make back $497 from whatever it is they're teaching me, don't do the challenge. It's not for you. Because Stephanie and I have seen women triple, quadruple their money. We've saw it yesterday on Friday. Who was it? Was it Brittany? Someone who was in the challenge previously said they got a client that day from using the techniques that they did in the challenge a year ago. Continue to use the clients. Someone who had people sell out retreats using the information they got in the challenge. So it's a very great way. It was Brittany who got a client that day. It's a great way to create your method of getting clients and getting that. And Amina had got 4 clients last year during the challenge, and she still has those clients now. Right? So this is not a short-term, I work with them for 1 week, I'm going to do this thing for 1 week. This is a repeatable process where you can get clients over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And if you can get clients for your business over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, and if you can structure a business the way you want it to run, you can go on vacation anywhere. Your budget, you can be like me and say your budget is just vibes. Your budget is vibes, right? You can say, I'm going to work from 6 hours away because I don't have to do live work because I've set up a business where I can do the work when I want to. I can respond to clients when I want to. I can get clients how I want to. So this is all related, right? The reason we do this work, this specific live challenge, is because it helps women live the life that we talk about in Exodus Summit. It helps them take career breaks, right? It helps them retire from like their existing job, right? It helps them create businesses that support the lifestyle they want to live. And so this is not like an unrelated kind of, we're just doing this thing. No, this is very, very related. The Black women who take this challenge walk away with repeatable business. They get to get more clients. They get to keep more clients. And baby, they be hard-headed. Here comes Amina. Bare minimum. Earlier I said, I know there are women who would say that they didn't see the benefit. And I will say, I know some of those women, and not all of them, but some of them did not do the bare minimum, right? You're not going to get out more than you put in. You're not. I can't do there's work you have to do. There is work. And that work will get you clients. All right. So if next year this time you want to be working from one of the 1,419 islands in Denmark, I had no idea. I thought it was going to be like 3 islands. If you want to be working from one of the 1,419 islands in Denmark next year, you should sign up within the Exodus Summit Facebook group. We don't share the link publicly. It is a private challenge. You have to be a member of the Exodus Summit Facebook group to join. We do parts of the challenge on Facebook, so we do recommend that you have a Facebook account when you're doing it, and it be your account and not like your daughter's account, not for this challenge. If you want to see more info, we talk about it on the link that Stephanie just dropped because she's the best. Francis has signed up for it. I love Francis is a client of mine, so I say this with all the love. Girl, you don't even need to work. Like, if I remember correctly, you don't even need to work. But welcome, welcome to the challenge, right? Join the Exodus Summit Facebook group here. Stephanie just dropped it. It's also tagged. The link is pinned at the top of this in case you need it. But join the Exodus Summit Facebook group. Even if you don't want to join the challenge, the Exodus Summit Facebook group has more than 16,000 women who want to move abroad and take career breaks. These are your people. These are your people. Don't forget. And now back to our regularly scheduled program. I missed this comment, but I'm going to drop it in here. Working collaboratively with my coworker friends, it's worth way more than $4.97. I got this. Okay. So we were at Denmark and Islands. What, black couple delayed? What are y'all talking about? Yeah, we did talk about Dubai's, the UAE's challenging. It's challenging. They had a baby and they couldn't leave until they certified their marriage. But also, like, why is our marriage certificate so important if I have a birth certificate? I'm assuming the baby has a birth certificate because most places, baby has a birth certificate. But like the marriage certificate is also important. And listen, I understand different places, we have to respect the rules of how they do things. Better, like, some places just make it less clear, less friendly, less easy than others. Also, high key slavery. There's that. Okay. Okay. Junket says very few available in Howth. House sittings available in Howth and Dublin. Two more towns in France, Redon and Gassili. You don't pick one Greek island hop is what they suggest. But aren't there like 70 million islands? How do I pick which ones? You see the issue? How do I pick which ones to hop to? And then how do I pick where I'm staying on the island? It's too complicated for me. It's too complicated for me. Won't do it. Not into it. Not that I won't do it. There's some places where I feel like I need someone just to be like, come, we're going here. Ghana, Nigeria, Greece. Come, we're going here. Okay. Right? Okay. I don't want to do it myself. Okay. Let's see. what haven't we covered? Have we covered everything? I think we've covered everything. If you are watching this, go ahead and give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Truly, I just want to know that you felt something. And I want you to tell YouTube that you felt something so they know whether to send you my next video or not. Let's be real. Thumbs it up, thumbs it down. Feel some kind of way, please. And if you're a Black woman, with a photo of yourself as a profile photo, go ahead and sign up for a Facebook group. If you don't have a photo of yourself, it automatically, if you don't have a photo at all, it automatically declines you. If you don't have a photo of yourself, our admin will automatically decline you. And after you've been declined, you can't message me or Stephanie to get back in because we can't, like, you were declined. I don't know what's going on over there. I can't. Once you're declined, you're declined. There's no redoing that. Okay. You can do it again, but put a photo of yourself up. It's just much easier. All right. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already subscribed. And if you're a member in the membership, in about 10 minutes at 1 p.m. Eastern time, we're going to go live on Zoom to say hi to everybody that we haven't talked to in a while. And I think that's it. Thanks for being here to support Rich. Everyone else, I will talk to you next week. I hope to be back with Pride Month next week. Having guests takes a little bit of planning, and I don't know if you've noticed, I'm not really in my work phase right now. I need a manager, not to manage me, but to manage the work. Not to manage me, I am unmanageable, but to manage the work. Okay. Bye, y'all. See you next time. I keep pressing the wrong buttons.